So today we're going to be going over how to make this gear. It's pretty simple. You guys can definitely get it. Feel free to slow down or speed up the video, rewind it if you ever have any difficulties. First thing we're going to do is open up a part if you guys haven't done that already, and we're going to select the front plane and create a new sketch on it. We're going to create two circles, one slightly larger than the other one. You're going to go to the top left hand corner and click Smart Dimensions. So we're going to set this to 180 millimeters and the inside to 70 millimeters. From here, you're going to go to the upper left hand corner and select the Features tab to extrude the boss base. We're going to set this to 25 millimeters in thickness. It looks kind of like a washer right now. From here, you're going to select the front plane. You can do this by going on the left hand side, right clicking, and clicking the sketch. Click the Convert Entities in the Sketch features and click the outer ring of your first circle. It's going to put it onto the new sketch plane we just selected. Create a new circle with the origin at the origin, and you're going to set with Smart Dimensions this to 200. This is how we're going to create our first spoke. So you're going to go back over to Sketch, hit Line, and then hit the Down tab. You can click Center Line, and you're going to create it from the origin to the top. Make sure it's linear. You can tell it's linear if there's that one small dash parallel to it. From here, you're going to click Arc. You're going to make sure it's coincident with the inner ring and the outer ring. Make sure it's not touching that center line. We'll get to that in a second. With Smart Dimensions, set the radius of this arc to 15. The width from the bottom point to the center line is going to be 5 millimeters. And the top point to the center line is going to be 2 millimeters. From here, you're going to go to Mirror Entities. Mirror Entities is found in the Sketch tab. You click it, and first you're going to click that arc you just created, and then you're going to go over to Mirror About and click the center line. From here, you can click OK. Then you're going to trim the entities, everything except for that little like trapezoid shape you just created. You can see we have this kind of like fin spike looking thing. You're going to extrude the boss base and do 25 millimeters because that's the thickness of our gear. From here, you're going to go to the Features tab, and you're going to click Linear Pattern, except you're going to click the Down tab and click Circular Pattern. For the direction, you're going to click the interface of the gear. The degrees, you're going to click 360, and the instances of this is going to be 45. Make sure they're equally spaced out. Now, we have a gear. The next step is we're going to trim the spokes so they're not entirely square, because if you guys know how gears works, that's not the best thing to do. From here, we're going to select the right plane. Create a new sketch. I'm going to widen my sketch a little bit to make it a little bit easier on myself. From here, we're going to create a new center line. Center line is going to be from the midpoint of the bottom of the gear to the top of the gear. This is because we're going to mirror entities over the center line later, so make sure you guys do this. If you need to deselect, hit Escape. It's a really easy shortcut. From here, you're going to create a triangle. Make sure the top of it is slightly above the top of the gear. From here, we're going to set the degrees of this triangle using Smart Dimensions to 15 degrees. There we go. After that, we're going to set the bottom of this triangle coincident to the bottom of the spoke. This is to make sure when we revolve cut that we don't cut into the base of the gear. You're going to go ahead and delete the original coincident that you created. If you're in Smart Dimensions, you're going to need to get out of that so you can create this new reference point. From here, you click the point, Control, and click the bottom line for the face of the spoke and click Coincident. From here, you're going to mirror entities once more. A triangle is going to be your first entity. You're going to click Mirror About and do it over that center line once more. Go ahead and click OK. And then we're going to go to Features, Revolve Cut. Here you can see it's trying to revolve around the center line we created. However, you're going to click this little eye right up here and click that. That's where our axes are. So we're going to be able to select the Revolve About for the center axis so that it cuts all the outside gears instead of in that strange circle it was in earlier. There we go. From here, we're going to select the front plane. Create a new sketch. We're going to convert entities once more and select that inner circle. From here, create another circle with the origin at the center. Smart dimension this, and this is going to be set to 60 millimeters. From here, we're going to back to the Features tab. Oh, never mind. We're going to create another center line. Make sure it's linear once more. And we're going to create another spoke, but in the middle. This you can use the line tool for. You're going to set the top of it, top point to the center line. It's going to be 5 millimeters. And then this bottom point to the center line, we're going to set that to 3 millimeters. All right. Once again, we're going to be mirroring some entities. That left line is going to be mirrored over the center line. Now you have a trapezoidal shape that you're going to trim all the entities around it so that we can extrude boss base it. You can see that it's fully defined. From here, extrude 25 millimeters because that is the thickness of our shape. From here, we're going to select this edge. You're going to go ahead and rotate around to the other side of your gear. You can do this by just holding down the center point of your mouse, and then you can control and select the second edge. From here, we're going to chamfer, and we're going to set this to 0.5 millimeters. There we go, and now it doesn't have a really rough corner. From here, we're going to go back to the Features tab and use that circular pattern once again. We're going to make the direction, the interface once more. The degrees is still going to be 360. However, our instances, we're going to set to 10. You can do 15, 10 is kind of up to your preference. However, you would like your gear to look. There we go. From here, this is kind of where it gets a little bit more difficult. From here, you're going to click Section View. Now, you're going to look at the inside point of this. You can look at it horizontally, vertically. It's kind of up to your preference. Personally, I look at horizontally. It's easier for my brain to work that way. From here, you're going to select the top plane and create a new sketch. Rotate it around to the middle if it does this to you. I'm going to open my plane a little bit just to make it a little bit easier on myself once again. And from here, we're going to use the line tool and create a trapezoidal shape. So from here, we're going to go ahead and start setting the smart dimensions of this trapezoid. We're going to set the angle in between these two lines to 75 degrees, and the angle here, we're going to go ahead and set that to 60. Now, keep in mind with some of these constraints, you might want to delete them because it does get kind of complicated. From here, we're going to start setting the smart dimensions. From the center axis to the point of the trapezoid, we're going to set the distance to 45. I put 55 here. It's a typo. I'll fix it later. After that, we're going to set the corner of the trapezoid to the edge right before the spokes start extruding to 6. If you get a whole bunch of errors that pop up, you're going to have to go ahead and get out of smart dimensions and delete a few of the constraints. This is because they usually end up contradicting each other and have a hard time. They just try to cross mesh and everything. So you just got to delete it and then kind of finagle everything around. So I'm going to go ahead and set this to 6. And next, I'm going to set this right side to 15 millimeters. And then afterwards, we're going to set it to the opposing side to 10 millimeters. However, you see it's set at 14. This is because everything is already fully defined. And if we set it to 10, we'd be over defining it. So we're going to have to, again, mess with the constraints, delete the parallel up at the top, and kind of move everything around in order for this to work. From here, we're going to go ahead and go directly above the left-hand side of the trapezoid and create another trapezoid on the opposing side. We're then going to go ahead and set the smart dimensions of this. We're going to want to place 75 degrees in here. Actually, we're going to make that 65. Then we're going to go ahead and set the opposing corner at 45 degrees. From here, you're going to go ahead and turn on your axes again. You're going to smart dimensions and set that trapezoid 55 away from the center axis point. Alright, so now we're going to try to revolve cut. You can find that in the Features tab. We're going to select our axis of revolution for the center tab. See, this is where I had a lot of issues. It's going to have rebuild errors because it's going to say there's no margin of error, essentially, which isn't what they want. So basically from here, you're just going to go ahead and play around with the constraints and everything like that. What I ended up doing was I simply just moved the blocks slightly down so that SolidWorks wasn't confused about where it was cutting, so it was able to revolve cut. After you do that, you're going to be able to select the revolve cut tool, which is going to be on the Features tab. Your axis of revolution is going to be that center axis once more. Go ahead and click OK. And now you're going to see your gear isn't completely flat. From here, we're going to get back out of the section view tab. You can go ahead and click this face, right click it, and create new sketch. From here, we're going to convert the entity of the outer circle. There you go. Go ahead and click OK. And then you create a new circle centered at the origin that is 85 millimeters. Alright, and then we're going to extrude this out to 15 millimeters. From here, you can orientate your object to see the right side of the gear. You're going to select the right plane and create a new sketch. Select the rectangle tool on the sketches and create a rectangle around this area. From here, set the height of that rectangle to 8 millimeters. After setting the height, set the depth from the top of the extrusion to 5 millimeters. You can also set the distance away from the base of the extrusion to 1 millimeter. From here, we're going to revolve cut again around the center rotating point of our axis. There we go. And now we basically have the entirety of our gear. From here, we're just going to bevel and kind of chamfer a whole bunch of edges. It's kind of up to you how much you want to do this. I just do the ones that kind of look nice. We're going to right click that edge, set this one to 0.5. So yeah, basically I went around all the edges, did some filleting and chamfering. Here, if you select materials, you can go through the general list. You can also configure more materials to choose what you want your gear to be. This is good for stress testing and everything. I just chose steel. I think rubber looks nice just for demonstration views. But yeah, that's it. That's the whole video. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below. I'll try my best to answer.